Alright, this is the frontrunner guide for the Leo Cup. I did make a Leo Cup guide video talking about it in general, but this is one that's more focused on frontrunner, how you should approach prepping it before you go into career mode. The better preparation you have before training your Uma, the less wasted career runs you'll have to do, especially if the run involves wasting a borrow. It reduces the amount of experimenting you'll need, and this is especially important because there's not much time between the end of the Cancer Cup to the beginning of the Leo Cup. So I made a little summary of items that we should keep in mind when prioritizing and in the preparation of making our front runner for the Leo Cup. So obviously, most of us know by now, the front runner strategy involves angling and scheming and groundwork. They synergize well. Groundwork allow you to stay in the first position easier in the early race, which hopefully you'll maintain the first position all the way to the late race where you can activate angling and scheming, which if you activate this, you have a very high chance of winning. That's the gist of the strategy for the front runner. So outside of these two skills, the other thing you need to consider is that the condition to activate groundwork is the next priority. So in order for you to activate groundwork, you'll need 3 early race skill, and this is preferably 3 green skills because these skills, if you are in the right condition, they activate right before the race starts. So there's more time for you to activate groundwork because you have 3 early skills proc right at the start of the gate. Outside of the 3 green skills, your stat line is also going to be a very important aspect of it. These are going to be some of the stat line: 1200 speed, 850 to 1000 plus stamina, 600 to 800 power, 300 to 350 gut, and 300 to 600 wit. For front runners specifically, I'll recommend about 500 to 600 wit just because wit is a little bit more important for front runner for positioning purposes and also skill activation. And their skills are really important for this strategy to work efficiently. So stat line is also going to be something to heavily consider, and then also good skills. Good skills is like skills that are like really good for this specific race. So here I mentioned that you preferably want at least 1 gold recovery skill, preferably 2, for this race because there's going to be a lot of, because it's a medium track, there's going to be a lot of debuffers, specifically Nice Nature with their double gold debuff skill is going to be really nasty for your ace runner. So having 2 gold recovery skill is going to be very consistent in terms of allowing you to survive her nasty debuffs. And some of the other good skills, some of the one I mentioned here, like I said, Swing Maestro will be a really good gold skill for everyone. You can just borrow a Smack Super Creek or use your own Super Creek, that works. Some other really good skill for front runner corner, medium corner. Obviously, always really solid. There's 4 corners in this Leo Cup, so there's a lot of chance for you to activate these skills. Also, Professor of Curvature, really good. Escape Artist or Fast Pace, also really decent. And then some of these other skills that are like generally pretty good skills, right? But obviously, you want to prioritize the green skills, as I mentioned earlier, to fulfill the groundwork requirement. But these are what do you mean by the other good skills, some of these other skills over here. Now, for most people, this for you to get all of these is the bare minimum for you to use frontrunner for champions meet. Now, a lot of people would say, a lot of the more competitive people would say that you preferably want at least medium S along with these as well. This is highly recommended. Getting a medium S will mean that you'll get a 10% speed bonus in your 10% bonus in your speed. So for most people, even if you don't hit 1200 speed, that's basically equivalent to 100 plus extra speed depending on the speed. So if you're at 1100 speed, you don't hit 1200 speed stat line here. If you have a medium S, you'll basically get to 110 extra speed at the start of the race, so you basically have over 1200 speed, even though if you actually have 1100 speed on your screen. So the medium S contribute to speed bonus, which is really important. And then Turf S gives you a 10% in power bonus. This is nice to have, but not really that extreme high priority. Just hitting these is already going to be decently hard. Hitting this is going to be really hard, and hitting this is like ungodly hard. So I would recommend, if you want to be really make a really strong front runner, at least go for these. Just these requirement will be good enough. But even if you hit just these, that'll be good enough for you to use front runner for your CM. But if you want to be really competitive, obviously you want to go for the medium S as well. Now, I also listed everything that I listed here, but put them in a category how you can get these. Angling and scheming, unless you're running Seiyu Sky as your ace Uma, which if you are, then obviously you get angling and scheming already. But if you aren't, if you're using any other frontrunner besides Seiyu Sky, such as Summer Marzensky, then you'll want to get angling and scheming by borrowing a Seiyu Sky parent. Groundwork, I would also recommend grabbing it from a parent because there are cards I can grab with groundwork. Noticeably, like there's an Ogre Cap power card, Gold Ship speed card, or the stamina card also can give you groundwork, and then there's a Gut air group that can give you groundwork as well, but the cards that can give you groundwork at the current moment aren't very good, and they'll just like mess up your stat line, which is not very desirable. So generally speaking, you want to get groundwork from your parent through inspiration as well. The 3 early race skill, preferably the green skills, you can get them. Some Uma have them innately in their kits. Most of the time it's through support cards, through their hints. Sometimes it's through inspiration, you can get them through that, and then sometimes you can get them through random career events as well. And also, before you start your career, you want to have a general stat line in mind for you to aim for each of the careers. So this is an example stat line that let's say I'm prepping for a front runner. I'm decided that I want to at least have 1200 speed, or maybe it's better to say like 1100. Some people, not everyone can hit 1200, so I'm gonna be a bit more generous. Let's say hit 1100 speed, 850 stamina, 600 power, 300 gut, and 500 wit, which is like a pretty decent for front runner based on the stat line showed earlier. And for you to get a specific good stat line, it really depends on your support cards, how you structure your deck. Your parents also matter, your blue sparks, your inspiration through that, and then also through career choices. Sometimes they give you different stats, so you have to make good career choices based on that as well. The good skills also depending on your Umas through potential level or just innately in their kit. Support cards through hints and all that once again. And then you can get skills and inspiration from your legacies and also through career events as well. Some choices can give you specific skills that you might find very useful. And then medium S and turf S, also, obviously you can only get them through the pink spark from your legacy. The reason why I put each of these little categories next to these requirements is that so I can hopefully show you guys what you need to look out for and what you need to consider when you prep for these certain section. So for example, for the parent, let's say you're borrowing a parent. If you're running Saiyans guy, you'll want to run a Maruzensky parent. That's one of the another decent unique skill for the front runner strategy. But let's say, for example, for this example's sake, we're going to use Summer Maruzensky as our prep. We will want a Saiyan Sky because we don't have angling and scheming otherwise, so we know for a fact that we will want a Saiyan Sky parent. If you have a Saiyan Sky parent yourself and you have decent amount of groundwork, then just borrow whatever Uma that gives you the highest pink or blue sparks. But for this example's sake, let's say you don't have a Saiyan Sky, so you'll want to borrow a Saiyan Sky so you can fulfill this angling and scheming condition. So the next condition is that you see here is that you want groundwork, and ideally you want to get it through parent because all the card options suck. So let's go ahead and grab groundwork through this. And ideally I like to go for at least 5 groundwork because this is like 15% chance for inspiration just on one side of your legacy. If you have another legacy on your own that has decent amount of groundwork, then that's great. If you don't, then this might be a little bit more RNG to hit groundwork through your inspiration. But for this sake, let's just go ahead and say we want about 5 groundwork at least, right? So what else would you want to look for? Ideally, we want a medium S. That would be desirable. 10% speed, that's pretty dope. So let's go ahead and try to see if we can find one with decent medium as well. Let's say we won't be too greedy, and let's say we'll just look for medium S while also having groundwork 5 as well. And then for blue sparks, you can look for specific. Let's say like, oh, I really want some extra stamina because we need a really high stamina threshold for this CM. So let's say we want at least 5 stamina, just as a very low baseline for now. And then we'll amp up the number of search to like 100. And then we'll go ahead and look through this page and see. You can look around here and find one that's really good. Maybe one with a really high one. This on the stamina 8, it's pretty high, but it has medium 4, it's a little bit low on the pink side. And then for groundwork, has groundwork 6. So this one is like, oh, maybe it's not that bad. But you can look through all of this list. You can mess around with these filters to get what you want. You can go for like really high ones. You can go like groundwork 7, medium 6. Maybe you have to get rid of blue sparks in that case because otherwise you're being a bit too greedy and you might not find anyone, but you can try to mess with that. But generally speaking, you can just go with this. Okay, yeah, let's see, there's only 5 user with groundwork 7 and medium 6. So you can look around some of these, some of these medium 7, groundwork 7, speed 4, not the greatest, but like, yeah, obviously there's going to be a trade-off. Not everyone's going to have godlike parents for you to borrow, but medium 6, groundwork 7, stamina 6. So this one's like pretty decent, right? This one's a pretty decent one already. You can look around some of these, you can mess around with some of these filters to get some of these requirements listed here for you to plan out your parent side of things. Another thing I would like to mention is that if you find two of them, for example, you find these two, let's say you're debating between these two, let's say this one's a little bit better just for argument's sake, but let's say you're comparing these two, you don't know which one you want to go for, then you might want to consider affinity as another factor for you to consider. Let's say you're training for a Summer Marzensky in this example. You want to see if Seiyun Sky with, let's go and see, Seiyun Sky, let's say this example with Current Chan and Mihono Bourbon. But that's not Current Chan, that's freaking Smart Falcon. I'm so sorry. Let's go ahead and say Mihono Bourbon. So you see this one gives you a total affinity of 39. You know, not that great, but you know, maybe you can't be too greedy. This one have Maruzensky and Special Week. So I know for a fact that already, if you know how Affinity works, that if you have a grandparent, it's the same as your Ace Uma that you're training, then this will not grant any Affinity point at all. So this one will already immediately not be very good, but maybe Special Week will give Saiyan Sky a decent bit. Nope. Okay, so this one is going to be weaker in Affinity. Just something for you to consider if you're stuck between choosing two of them. Affinity could be something for you to consider. A higher Affinity score means that there's more of a higher chance of you proccing Inspiration, which also means your Blue Spark, which means more stats, Pink Spark with higher chance of you hitting Medium S or Turf S, and then also Skill Spark, your groundwork, your angling and scheming extra hint for discounts. Affinity can matter. It's something for you to consider as well if you're comparing between two really good parents to borrow. And just to reiterate, if you're running Seiyun Sky, obviously you can't borrow Seiyun Sky. You already have angling and scheming, right? In that case, you'll want to do the same process except with Maruzensky because Red Shift is also a really decent skill for the front runner position as a unique. I would not recommend going for Maruzensky as a grandparent to try to go get Redshift on your Summer Maruzensky if you're running Summer Maruzensky. The chance of you getting Redshift through a grandparents of Maruzensky is very low and you're affecting your affinity quite a bit just to try to have that little bit of extra chance to hit Redshift. It is possible and you can certainly do it if you want to gamble, but you already have enough gambling to deal with hitting all of these, so I would not recommend it personally. Now let's talk about the support cards and how you build your deck. So for your deck, you'll want to have the appropriate stat ratio for your deck to hit your stat line while also considering the skills your cards can provide you with your green skills to proc your groundwork and also your generally good skill for your Ace Uma. And what I mean by stat ratio is how much speed card you want on your deck, how many stamina card you want on your deck, yada yada yada. That's what I mean. So this is a real life example of my account. I only have 3 limit break Kitas on black from rerolling when I started playing the game. Other than that, all of these are like barely any limit break. I am pretty fortunate to have the Saiyan Sky stamina card. I believe this is the only card that can grant you Escape Artist currently, which is a really, really nice skill for frontrunner, if I do say so myself. But for this instance, I know that Summer Marzensky has a 15% speed bonus. With a 15% speed bonus, I know that with 4 speed card, I can easily hit 1200 speed based on experience how I play my career run. And to hit my stamina requirement of 850 plus, I will need 2 stamina card because Summer Marzensky have no stamina bonus. So from experience, I know that 2 stamina card will probably hit the 850 along with a little bit of help from some stamina spark from my legacy. Obviously, I want to grab a Super Creek with a Swinging Maestro that I want as a gold recovery skill so I don't get nuked by Nice Nature in this CM. And then for my power requirement, I'll get it from a secondary from training speed. My gut requirement, I'll get it from secondary from training stamina. And then my wit bonus, I have no wit card here, but Summer Marzensky does have a 15% wit bonus. So even without wit card, if I play it right and press wit during the earlier part of my career to raise friendship with my cards, and also use press wit during the later portion of my career when I have rainbows unlocked, but it's a dead turn, I hit no rainbow, then I can press wit there, then I can probably hit 500 speed, 500 wit I mean, with the help of the 15% wit bonus from Summer Marzensky. And with the deck, obviously, not everyone will have what I have, but I'm just saying from my example, for my deck, Skita-san Black, obviously really strong card, gives you Professor of Curvature, can give you Corner Recovery to make Swing Maestro cheaper from Super Creek, can also give you Focus. If you don't hit 3 green skills, Focus is also an early race skill that you can consider. It has to pass a wit check, so it is a bit RNG, it's not guaranteed, but it's also an option for you there. King Halo has Firm Condition, which is a green skill as a hint. Also has Corner Recovery to make Swing Maestro cheaper once again. Asian Flash has no resource skill, it's just that what I have on my account. The rest of my speed card sucks. My Tour Guide Tail also not have good, doesn't have any useful skill, but it is one of the better card I have, and also I like the event. It has some root up event and some energy recovery event. And the Saiyan Sky as a stamina card for escape artists, obviously very fortunate that I have this, and then also the borrow max super creek my end to grab the swinging maestro, and also just a really strong stamina card in general. Now, not everyone will have what I have, so maybe you have something like this. Maybe you have a pretty strong account. You have pretty high limit break on your speed card. So let's say you have a high limit break of Hidas on Black, high limit break of the new Narita Brian speed card, and then a high limit break of King Halo, right? And then let's say you also maxed out the McQueen card. You borrow a max Super Creek, and then now you can run because you have three really strong high limit break speed card. You can probably hit the 1100 to 1200 speed with just 3 speed, and now you can proc in a wit card to get the 500 wit requirement easier. And also, I would like to do a mention in this video that Machikane Futu Kitaru, this wit card is actually really, really good because this, where is it? Oh, there it is. This card, through the chain event, which is only 2, you can get right-handed, which is a really, really strong. It gives you speed. It's also a green skill for you to proc your groundwork, so it's just a really, really strong wit card in general. This is pretty much guaranteed for most of your career run. But the downside is that you might get nuked with your energy, so good luck with that one. But other than that, this is generally speaking, this is a pretty good wit card in my opinion for frontrunner. Or maybe you don't have any of these. Maybe you're like a lower power level for your support cards for your account. So let's say you have something, just find whatever you have at that point. It's fine. Don't stress too much about hitting exactly what you need for this cup. Just try to hit as high as you can, as best as possible within your capability. But I would like to say that depending on your UMA, it might change it sometimes, right? So let's switch it to Saiyan Sky, for example. Saiyan Sky has 20% stamina bonus, I want to say. I could be wrong, I don't play Saiyan Sky, but I think she has a 20% stamina bonus and 10% win bonus, or is it the other way around? I don't remember. But because she has no speed bonus, I know for a fact she doesn't have any speed bonus, then it's more likely that you want to run 4 speed card, especially if you have a lower limit break level on your speed cards. You definitely want 4 speed card to at least have a higher chance of hitting 1200 speed for the ace Uma that you're running for, and then you can just run your standard 2 stamina card. You'll hit the, because she has a stamina bonus, then she'll be able to hit the stamina requirement very, very easily. For most people, I would just recommend a 4 speed 2 stamina deck ratio. I think that's the most comfortable ratio to hit the 2 most important stat line, that being speed and stamina for the CM. If you go 4 speed 2 stamina and you play your career decently well, then you'll be able to hit a stat line of something like this, or at least decently close to it. If you're new to the game or you're not that proficient with career, don't worry too much about hitting exactly these stat line. Just try your best with what you have with your capabilities to get as high as possible up something like this with this sort of ratio. To wrap this video up, I want to talk a little bit about what you want to prioritize in the career mode in each of the year. If you're proficient with career mode, then you can just ignore this part. Thank you for watching. Take care, have a good one. But if you are newer on the game, or you're not that proficient with career mode, this might be a little bit helpful for you to get a little bit more stats from your career. For the junior year, I will focus on prioritizing unlocking your friendship training with your support card. Try to get those friendship up for all of them, while also if you can focus on the targeted facility. What I mean by targeted facility is your depending on your deck ratio. So let's say 4 speed, 2 stamina, like I mentioned earlier, then your targeted facility training will be your speed facility, your stamina facility, and also because wit training does not cost energy and it gives you energy, and also wit is a stat that you want for your front runner, then you will want to, your wit training is also a targeted facility. So for your early game, ideally you want to press your speed, stamina, and your wit facility training, and hopefully they have 2 or 3 or even more of your support cards there to raise their friendship in those facility. If you have like 1 dude on speed and 5 dudes on gut, then obviously you'll want to prioritize gut, or even 4 dudes on gut, then you obviously want to prioritize gut. It's just something for you to consider for your junior year. Your classical year, hopefully by now you'll have half of your friendship unlocked from your support cards. And at this point, if you hit a double rainbow for speed or stamina and you still have some remaining friendship to unlock, I would prioritize the double rainbow. They just give way too many stats. If it's just a single rainbow, then I will still prioritize focusing on unlocking your rest of your friendship to get the multiple rainbow combo bonus, they give a lot more. Just the single rainbow for the most cases is not that worth, depending on the situation and how many other people are there. But outside of these two, you also now you really want to drill in on your targeted facility to level them up as high as possible while going into the senior year. Senior year, your main focus is just to hopefully hit as many rainbow training as possible. That's based on luck, but hopefully you hit a lot of them. And most by now, hopefully towards the end of your classic year, you have all your friendship unlocked. But another thing to consider during your senior year is that your unique skills level up based on certain events in your senior year. So if you have 60k fan by early February, your unique skills for your UMA get level up by once. And then by the early April, if you have 70k fan with the director being green, which is like 3 bars, I believe, by the early April, then you get another level up on your unique ability. And then 120k by late December, then you get another level up for your UMA's unique skill. Now, depending on what UMA you're training for, this might not necessarily be the biggest importance. Some unique skill is like a lot more RNG or not as good for the CM. So those you don't have to really consider too much about it. If you plan on running Seiyun Sky or Summon Maruzensky, I know for a fact that this is very important. Your unique skill are very strong for this race. This is 100%. If you're running those two UMA, you definitely want to level them, the unique skills for them as much as possible. They're very important. Alright, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any question, I explained something poorly, or I missed something, or I said something wrong, please leave it in the comment section down below. I would greatly appreciate it. Other than that, I hope the best of luck in training your UMAs for the Leo Cup. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Bye bye. Take care.